16, 17, do you have to leave at noon? Because we have some fun stuff coming up. You do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll keep going.
Sorry.
Thank you, I'm sorry for being late. Do you want to turn it on?
Oh, I did already.
I don't know, I'll have to check.
I did, yes.
Okay.
I already started it. But I can
Okay.
turn it off and start it
No,
again
no.
if you'd rather. How about I do that?
I'm not sure what I said, so just leave it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look up here and center that. Now, how do you say that Czech name? It's called Czerny, like you're churning butter.
Okay.
So it's Carl, sometimes it's spelled with a K on the Carl. Let's say it together. Carl Czerny. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
I hadn't either, too much. And scales, now that's what he looks like. Now this is an interesting dude in the music world that probably will come to visit you in his music.
Oh, okay.
You might be interested in this guy.
Okay.
This is a transcription of this piece, this document by Albert Franz, Mastering Piano Scales. Now this is so poignant. Will you read that loudly
Sure.
for us, please? And so it's loudly and...
Okay, it comes from the transcription of Mastering Piano Scales by Albert Franz. Scales are the very foundation for all piano technique. Beethoven's most prominent student, Carl Czerny, who went on to become the top piano teacher of his time, once said, "Are you asking me how great a player you may become? Then tell me how much you practice scales. Yet in my experience, even piano students who have had years of lessons most often are unable to play all the basic major and minor scales." This would be like trying to speak a language but not learning the whole alphabet. There's simply no way for you to achieve musical fluency without knowing scales. Scales are the building blocks for nearly all Western music, which is pretty much everything we'll ever play on the piano. Learning all the major and minor scales thoroughly is the single most important thing you can do to improve your understanding of music and your piano technique.
Any comments
Wow.
on that? It's pretty powerful.
That
Well, I
is.
just wasted 60 years, didn't I?
Czerny didn't say that.
Thinking.
Albert Franz said that.
Oh.
He said that. Czerny said that.
Oh,
So this is I
okay.
took a document. I was studying Albert Franz,
Okay.
and this is what he said about Carl Czerny. But I have more to share with you about Carl Czerny. You can read it even though you're recording, can't you, dear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carl Czerny was an Austrian composer, teacher, and pianist of Czech origin, whose music spanned the late classical and early romantic eras. His vast musical production amounted to over 1,000 works. His books of studies for the piano are still widely used in piano teaching.
Thank you. Czerny was brought as a 10-year-old boy by his father to meet Beethoven, excuse me, and Beethoven was impressed by his prodigious talent. He took Carl on as a pupil, and later he made Czerny teach his nephew Carl the piano. The great composer and pianist Franz Liszt, who lived 1811 to 1886, was a student of Czerny. Now at this point, and you can just stay there, I'm going to come over here and get something that I want to show you. I guess I have a video, or I mean a slide showing you some of this stuff, but we talked on one of our lessons about this guy, Hannon.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who Hannon, or what this book is?
Isn't it where you exercises for the fingering and scales?
Yes. And I bought this. There's 60 of them there. And I had some in my studies in college, and it wasn't this big. So there are a lot. You can buy this. I think I paid $8 or something for it online. But these are mostly octaves, if not all octaves. I'm sorry for the bad turning of pages here. That just gives you some ideas of the exercises if you want to gain fluidity and familiarity and smoothness and muscle, everything, that you can get one of these. Now, I was really blessed by a man who's not famous, long dead, but he taught me the organ in college as part of my degree. And he had written this book, and it is his version of hand and exercises. And, excuse me, this is actually for the piano. I'm losing my voice again. Because we don't see 3 staves, which the third bottom stave is for the organ pedals. But he was a fine, a fabulous organist, and I'm blessed to have had him as a wonderful teacher. And I felt stupider than a dumb rock next to him, but he was very patient and kind and a gentle old man. And so we had fun together. He even invited me and some other music students to his house where we had a supper one night, and we all brought food, and he made such a wonderful spread. We just had such a ball. And so I treasure this technique book by Merritt Johnson, who is a South Dakota guy. And I bought this at Northern State College bookstore in Aberdeen for 80 cents when I was in college. But Czerny, I don't have anything by Czerny, but I do have something that we can listen to. He is brilliant. And when I was doing some research, I saw some links that said, "I hate you, Czerny." Because back then, I mean, it's drilling. People don't like to drill. They don't even like to practice beautiful songs. But one thing that I noticed that he did, he took all of these, what we've just looked at, and he put them in beautiful songs. But he revved them up so fast that some of the musicians had to play between 8 and 15 notes per second to capture the way he wanted it played. And so you really endure some speed, and you can even endanger physical parts of your hands, wrists, and muscles if you don't play the technique right. He was a technique freak. And while I was preparing some of this, I turned on what I'm going to share with you a little bit. And I listened to all these exercises going at 80,000 miles an hour by this one gal that I'll tell you about. I don't know how she did it, but it was truly music to my ears. And to think that someone could be so brilliant to take these exercises and build the stamina, the fluidity, the technique in beautiful ways, and that is Carl Czerny.
Wow.
This is an Instagram post. When he was 13 years old, he had already studied with Beethoven for 3 years. Can you imagine that privilege? And what an incredible pianist Czerny must have been. As a 17-year-old, he could play all existing Beethoven piano works from memory. His etudes are fantastic for developing articulation, velocity, and precision. And now I am going to attempt, without Andy being here, this lady Vivienne Harvey Slater at the piano. There we go. Let's hope and pray. Do I have to press control?
Try clicking and just see if it'll go to it.
Please go to it.
Oh,
At Les Schwab, it's the Afford More sales event. Save $60 instantly on a wide selection of 4 of our most affordable.
It's not going up there, is it?
Should I pause
Do you
it?
know how to?
Now, listen, girls. Is it recording? I hope it's recording. I could listen to all 26 minutes of this forever. And let's just take a moment, like maybe 5 minutes,
Okay.
and listen to her fluidity at these outrageous speeds. Is it going to do it? Okay. You aren't going to see anything. Imagine that. possible exercise to develop everything, chromatics and everything, and breath, and just listen to that. And I like it that they're short. So I think, let's see what's next. Oh, I guess I have this up again.
You want to go off of this video?
Yeah, because you guys can watch it at home.
Okay.
Or listen to it. Okay, and we'll just, I can get that down there. Oh, you want it, okay. Girls, thank you so much. Aren't we having a ball?
Yes, we are.
So, what is piano technique? Do you want to read it really loud for us,
Sure.
please, Danielle?
The skills and methods used to play the piano well are called piano technique. Through consistent practice, a pianist learns to master the proper posture, hand and finger coordination, and finger dexterity to perform musically and healthily at the piano.
Thank you. Continue.
Learn piano technique. Hannon, the virtuoso pianist. Technique book by Merritt Johnson. James and Jane Bastian
I
piano
did bring
books.
these because now, when you start teaching piano now, if you want to teach piano, this is how many books you'll have to go and buy at $20 a piece or whatever. I got these at like a Goodwill or a DI, but there are theory lessons and they separate that out and they have different levels, so they have level 1, level 2, etc., according to how far advanced the student is. They have piano solos. They have technique lessons. Let's take a look at them. See, they're not like Czerny or Hannon, but anyway, they slowly teach the child or the adult how to use their fingers with those skills. Then they have piano lessons and piano solos. What do you think of all that? Pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So now, let me see if there's anything else before we chop that. I just wanted to show you some of my favorite composers. Yeah, most people would say, I love Beethoven, I love Bach, I love this, I love, but I love these guys. I love the other ones too. I respect them all. This is a smaller. I paid, I think, almost $50 for this book last month or the month before because I'm so into his preludes. I turn it on YouTube and I could just die of love. And so I haven't gotten into this yet, but we'll talk about more later. One of my favorite composers of all time is Chopin. And this is a student of Czerny, Franz Liszt. And he is I would say that he is probably the most difficult composers. If a classical pianist can play Liszt, go to that concert and pay top dollar if you have to. He has a lot of chickens running around on his pages. And it's just phenomenal. And he could play all of them. His hands his hands were really big and he was so good. If a student of Czerny, yeah, he was good. But his compositions are outrageous. And then this is my third most popular and famous, difficult Rachmaninoff. I love Rachmaninoff. And at this point, I'm just a looker. I couldn't play that. If you put a gun to my head and say, play it or I'll kill you, I'd see you on the other side. Yeah. So these are some of my favorite composers. Now I think we're getting, we will have time to finish everything I prepared. Let's stop it now and